let's cover the preseason game first. Let's just kind of hit some of the highlights there. We actually got to watch, kind of watch.
Together. It was on.
It was on in the background. We had it on your phone while we were doing a little Skol Hop business meeting and had some lunch together, which was nice. Mm-hmm. What were some of your highlights from the game?
So kind of to remember everything that went on, we went to our favorite Vikings website, vikingsterritory.com, and as they always do after each Vikings game, they had a nice quick snap reaction article about that game. So going off some of the points they wrote down, plus our own feedback, I think it was a good game overall. Obviously, they won, but preseason doesn't matter. This is the first season that KOC has won any preseason game. He never won
all three.
Yeah, and the Vikings didn't win one in Zimmer's last year. So it's been a handful of years since the Vikings have won a preseason game. Again, it doesn't matter. You're not trying to win in preseason. You're trying to win a play in preseason or see how guys look in different spots. But it is nice to see a win. Some of the points that I think it was Dustin Baker that wrote that snap reaction article on vikingsterritory.com. Some of the points he pointed out that Tristan Jackson, he's actually probably pretty good. He scored in each preseason game, which is no small feat. And as a receiver, again, the whole caveat of preseason is if you look good, who cares? You're only going against fourth stringers and guys who won't be in the NFL. But if you look bad, then, oh my gosh, you're the worst. But Tristan Jackson, he looked good. And, I mean, he caught the ball when he was supposed to. And, I mean, it's not always, it's just you and the ball when you're trying to catch the ball. So he caught the ball. He scored in each preseason game. He seems to have carved a role out for him on the team, and as we'll talk later, he made the 53-man roster. We can be excited about Tristan Jackson right now.
Yeah, I think another interesting thing was, and I think maybe Dustin put this at number 3 in his article because it has to do with quarterback 3.
Sure.
Would be Jaren Hall wrapping up that QB3 job. I think going into the preseason before J.J. McCarthy got hurt, I think we all would have said, oh, he's the first man out.
Yeah.
And, of course, J.J. McCarthy's injury makes room for a guy like Jaren Hall. But he's banged up, too, a little bit. He kind of got roughed up a little bit in the preseason game. And that's Dustin's 4th snap reaction here, that he did get banged up a little bit in the third quarter of that preseason game. And that's something worth noting because this whole summer has been kind of blow after blow to the Vikings team, either, whether it's injury or the tragedy that happened with Kyrie Jackson and several other things. So to go into the season, one, with 3 quarterbacks instead of 2, I think is interesting. And I think that's a move that Kwesi and KOC are making because they're a little conservative based on what happened previously with like last year with Kirk Cousins going down and needing to have as many quarterbacks as possible on the roster to just keep that position filled. And then interesting that things have developed to a point where Jaren Hall's the guy for now, unless something something is astir across the league in the next couple of days, and maybe he's released and maybe someone else is signed or something like that.
The guy is in that emergency third quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, at least against the Eagles, and really kind of all preseason, Jaren Hall has looked pretty good when he's been on the field. Yeah. Not a Hall of Famer, but I mean, for a guy that probably doesn't get a ton of practice reps, there's not a lot of expectations. In his spot, you really could see guys kind of like fumble the ball away, so to speak, when they get their opportunities. But he took every opportunity and he looked pretty good. I think, to your point, I think if J.J. McCarthy hadn't have been injured, they still would have kept 3 quarterbacks, but it probably overwhelmingly would have looked Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, and then Nick Mullins, unless they were able, for some reason, to get some trade value out of one of the quarterbacks, probably Nick Mullins, then it might have been Jaren Hall. But, yeah, I think J.J.'s injury was extremely unfortunate for him and definitely for the team, but it definitely opened some doors for other guys to have opportunities, and Jaren Hall looks like he's going to get at least one more season to be with KOC in that quarterback room to develop a little bit more and maybe turn into something more later in his career.
Yeah. Will Reichard's looking pretty good too.
Yeah, he just keeps making kicks. Again, the only kick he missed so far in his NFL career has been that blocked kick in the first game against the Raiders, which, again, I've said every time, we're not kicking experts. I don't think that we could point out or say if there's anything else he could have done to make sure that wasn't a block kick. But either way, usually block kicks are not the kicker's fault. And he made every single other kick out there. Again, I am not a kicking expert. I can't even get the ball up. If I ever tried to kick a field goal, it rolls. I don't get air. But I will say it kind of looks like he does have like a line drive, like just a straight bullet of a kick. And I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe I prefer the look of a high arching kick. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. He's made every kick, and we just get to be excited about a kicker that makes every kick.
That 57-yarder that he drilled, though, in this preseason game against the Eagles, that was more of that line drive type of kick. And that could be one of the reasons why one of his earlier kicks was blocked. Just it didn't have the lift to get up and over the line that's reaching up. And they're probably getting elevation of, 7.5, 8 feet, 9 feet, depending on how high some of those guys can jump and how tall they are.
That's my only uneducated concern is if he's not doing that high arching kick, like you were just saying, is it something that could be easier to block? Now, on the one that did get blocked, it was kind of the line just got blown up, and it wasn't some guy jumped 12 feet in the air and blocked it. But yeah, I think one thing we can take some excitement, if you're not already excited about Will Reichard, is he definitely seems to, he's got the college pedigree. He is good. He's shown that he's good, and he's got the physicality to be a good kicker. So he does seem like one that if he ever starts missing a couple, it wouldn't be crazy to think the Vikings could bring somebody in, a kicking expert, to kind of tweak his technique, or if the special teams coaches can kind of tweak his technique if possible, if necessary, and he's still got the physical attributes to be able to be a good kicker. Either way, I think we can be excited.
Yeah, for sure. And let's hope that he's the most consistent Vikings kicker that we've had in a while. And let's hope that he's mentally stable enough to weather the storm when it comes to missing a few. And
because he's going to miss some at some point. He's going to get cold at some point. So hopefully they can figure it out.
Yep.
All right. I guess that one of the last points I wrote down from this article was Levi Drake Rodriguez. He still continues to look good. I mean, he's not the next coming of Aaron Donald. Nobody is. I think I just saw something recently how Aaron Donald beat LaShawn McCoy in a foot race recently, and Aaron Donald was wearing like jeans. But anyways, Levi Drake Rodriguez, he's not the next coming of Aaron Donald, but he's a 7th round pick that, well, again, we'll talk about it a little bit later. He made the 53-man roster. And he looked good while doing it. And he seems like a good dude. He seems like an exciting dude. I wouldn't be surprised if the team started pushing him out more to the media, especially if he gets some playing time. Because he does seem, they've already kind of pushed him out a little bit to the media and for interviews and stuff. So that's exciting. I'm a fan of him, and I'm glad he made the team. And it's not for naught. Like, he actually is good. He's proven that he needed to make the team.
Kind of like a Ivan Pace type of setup from last year. Just that undrafted free agent, or was he 8th, 7th round?
So Levi Drake Rodriguez, he was a 7th round pick.
7th round.
And I'm pretty sure he was the last pick for the Vikings in this draft. But yeah, Ivan Pace.
But still, very, very far back in the draft. You never know what you're going to get out of players when you're drafting that late. But man, Vikings have figured something out there, and that's exciting.
Yeah, so you could argue Kwesi is better at getting these late round or undrafted guys at getting the high round or the first round guys. So hopefully that won't be the case with the quarterback they just got in April. But yeah, I mean, it is nice. It's almost like a free player when you can get a not even just a starting level quality, but a roster making quality player in the 7th, 6th undrafted free agency. It is nice to know that there is gold out there. And Kwesi and the coaching staff and the scouts have seemed to have figured out some kind of a way to identify those high value prospects in the late rounds.
There you go. Well,